Yeah,
it's a fuzzy number.
I agree, it's fuzzy, but we don't have anything better right now. I mean, unfortunately, right? So if I go, am I supposed to? I don't know. No, they just don't think options. So I can say, for example, you can show ideas for mobile, filter for local greater than or less than, right? So I can do this search. Okay. So you can kind of see there those local monthly searches. You can sort by that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that helps. I
am going to need to. So one of the weird things that it does is, there you go. This only show ideas, they added that back in because it was so annoying. They were showing, Applebee's. How is that related to Seattle? So there you go. And that gives you an idea. Seattle restaurants, top Seattle restaurants, most romantic. Boy, it must be a lot of date nights in Seattle.
Really?
Downtown, Seattle Restaurant Week, right? And then you can get a sense. So Seattle Restaurant Week, look, it only pops up. When do they do it? April and November? And there you go.
Right. So you're only
so you're only seeing the demand during those 2 months.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's good. That's showing that the data in that aspect is fairly accurate.
Yeah. I wouldn't trust these numbers in terms of like, oh, there are exactly 14,800 searches to this, but I can certainly be assured that there are more searches for best Seattle restaurants than there are for Seattle Restaurants Week, for example. Right? So relatively speaking, they give you a good sense.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. This one is going back to the beginning of the presentation, but can you explain the metric word, number, match, city, and name?
Yeah. Let's go look at that again.
So this is talking about the correlation test that we did, and it was one of the first slides that we showed.
So it is word, match, city, and name?
Yes.
Okay.
This would be the third one down.
Right. So title is the title tag of the website. Name is the place's name, the business place's name.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So hopefully that answers that for you, Heidi, and for everyone else. You can see in our chat that it looks like Joanna just posted a picture of what it looks like in the server closet here. So you get a little context of what is going on. Rand is not thrilled about that.
It's my pain. You're exploiting my pain.
No, and everyone through the comments has really appreciated that you're putting all this effort into it.
Of course.
We appreciate it.
It's not that bad, honestly.
Yeah, I think it looks a lot worse than it is, but that's easy for me to say, right? Okay, next question is from Bill. How does the number of citations or directory listings pointing to your website matter? The number of citations.
Well, I mean, according to our data and according to the the local experts who do this all day long, they say that the number of those citations, the quantity of citations, is critically important. That it's just a big ranking factor. The more citations you have, the better you're going to do. Particularly, well, and maybe only if those citations are consistent. Right. So those citations need to have the same business name, same address, same
phone number. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Especially with local and places, we've really seen a lot of limitations with search engines where their algorithms are a lot more naive than what we've seen in the web results.
I think
that'll change.
That really seemed to be the case previously. These numbers surprised me in how low they were. I was expecting higher correlations, particularly with a lot of these places data things.
Yeah.
The fact that they're relatively low, not crazy low, but relatively low, says to me maybe Google's adding some more complexity into this algorithm than we think. Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors that maybe we can't see in our test.
Well, I mean, look, the distance from centroid, we didn't measure that. We did do a linear regression on this to try and get as close as we could, and the closest we could get by mashing up these factors with a linear model was like 0.46, which is not great. I mean, it's
and 1 being perfect, right?
Right. 1.0 being perfect, this is 0.46.
Okay.
Now, we might be able to use a machine learning system and get much closer.
Yeah.
But
so that's down the road. That's something we're looking into. That
Yeah. I mean, when Ben Hendrickson's back, I think we'll see what priorities are on his plate and maybe ask him if he's interested in doing some of this work.
Yeah.
If any of you out there are machine learning experts, have a lot of Ruby experience too, and do C, C++, please come over here. We'll pay you lots and lots of money to be in our office and work here.
Rand@SEOmoz.org.
Yes,
if
that's
you're
right.
that person.
That's right.
Just touch on this real quick. So we saw the announcement in the Wall Street Journal that Google bought Groupon today for $5 billion. Looks like you're just...
Wait a minute. I saw Danny saying it was a terrible idea if they did do it. Did they really do it?
So it has been reported in the Wall Street Journal, I believe. And it sounds like it went through. I'm seeing from J.V. Stevens, our VP of Marketing, that it did indeed go through.
Holy crap!
$5 billion. So
that's the highest price they've ever paid for an acquisition.
Right. And so YouTube was what, $3 billion or something? So they were betting a lot of money on video was going to explode, and it did to a degree. But it sounds like from their pocketbook that they're really betting that local is going to be big.
I might also argue that Google's feeling very cash rich right now.
Yeah.
And I think they might be frustrated that a lot of their internal efforts, that many of their internal projects have not been going the way they wanted. Buzz being an example, I think Orkut being another one, Wave being another one.
Yeah.
Those failures can hit management pretty hard.
And they want to win, is what it sounds like.
I think they want to win. So, but yeah, I'm shocked. I mean,
so I was talking to Joanna Lord about this and to J.V. Stevens, who were in the office when I got here, and we were talking that DoubleClick, right? They bought that a long time ago, and that was core to their business, right? Like that made a lot of sense. But this one just seems like it's out there to a degree, right? It's not an advertising platform per se.
Well, in the sense that Groupon is a way to advertise one's business. It's an alternative methodology, a discount kind of coupon-based way. But I don't know. I might argue that it's more central to the business than something like YouTube was when they bought YouTube, right? I mean, YouTube was really an aggregator of other people's content. Now it's also become a leading.
That's kind of what Groupon is too. It's aggregating all this user data, right?
Well, but Groupon very much is an ad platform. It's a different kind of ad platform. It's a different way to advertise, but it's still an ad platform.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Well, it's certainly an interesting place to watch. So we're seeing this big move today, and then we saw a move with Facebook launch their own. $5 billion, right? Doesn't that number just blow you away?
I can't believe they didn't buy Yelp. I think Yelp would have been the smarter buy.
You think Yelp, well, I love Yelp's reviews, right? I think they just have a lot of data that no one else has. But
and just going, the experience of going to Google and searching for, if I go to Google and search for, Seattle restaurants, the results that they give me in terms of the maps results.
Can you maximize that so we can?
Yeah.
Sorry. Cool.
Right. This is just not anywhere near as good as what I get when I go to Yelp.com/Seattle and choose restaurants. It's just, just not as restaurant. Oh. I think that they have a long way to go to catch up to be as good because the distance from where I am now, the neighborhood selection, the features, the price, being able to sort by all these things, knowing what order things are in, versus that Google result.
It's just
why are they in? Yeah, why are they in this order? How do I choose Thai restaurants from here? How do I select ones that are within 0.5 miles of me? How do I? It's just not as great an experience at all. I think they really need to play catch up.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Groupon had some kind of technology or patents that we just don't see from the front end that Google really want to invest in.
Oh no, I mean
it's got to be a data buy, right?
No, I think I would disagree. I think they're buying it for the users. They're buying it for there are 500,000, 600,000 businesses, small businesses in the U.S. Who are all on Groupon. They're obsessed with it. There are millions of consumers who are using it. They want something that's local, that everyone's using on both the advertiser side and on the user side.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? It's a quick win. They're saying that Groupon gets $50 million revenue every month, which is just ridiculous. But it'll certainly be an interesting place interesting to watch. I think there's something else going underneath. It sounds like you disagree, so that's okay. I mean, maybe that's part of it. Yeah, I don't know. Let's get back. Well, a couple other people mentioned some interesting things in the comments. So people think that possibly Google with Hotpot might be a big win going forward. We're seeing that some people think they bought it just from a leverage point of view. We're seeing that they just really want to dominate Facebook, right? Like this is someone saying the Groupon is a killer email list. I certainly agree with that. It's a great one, right? I'm actually reading those emails every day, whereas the other service that I signed up for, the similar, I just don't. They go to spam.
I think this bodes well for Living Social.
Yeah, nice to be in their shoes. Yeah. Okay, so coupons are going to be interesting to look into going forward. Let's answer a couple more questions. Okay, so someone is asking, what about matching both the domain name and the business name?
I don't think it's a terrible thing, but I wouldn't go out of your way. Like I said before, if you are corephysicaltherapy.com, I would not go out of your way to get seattlephysicaltherapy.com, right? So there's no problem with it. It's not a bad thing. It's just I don't think it's worth the struggle to try and pay, you know, 50 grand to buy out the exact match domain from some guy. If you can get it for a few $100 and it's easy to do anyway, and you know that's what you were planning, great, go for it. But if you've got lots of links and references and a site built up and you don't really want to move, you have all your places, all your local listings referencing this other website, I'd stick with it.
Okay. And what about from a traditional standpoint? The exact match domains are great because you get links back to them with saying exactly the URL. So if it's Seattle Physical Therapist, it's going to help you rank for Seattle Physical Therapist. And we're seeing that not as true with these local rankings, but do you think maybe that outweighs anything else, or what's your opinion on that?
Like I said, my feeling on the exact match domain, if you're going for the web results, it's a good thing to have, but it's not unbeatable now. And, I mean, Matt Cutts specifically said at PubCon, we're going to reduce the value of exact match domains. I wouldn't rely on that strategy much longer. So,
okay,
I mean,
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that too. I think there's a bunch of junk that needs to get out of the results. So whenever we do see that, you know, I would, I wouldn't be putting all my eggs in that basket. Let's put it that way.
Okay, I like that. Do you think a company will run into trouble ranking, preferably number one, in a city that are based in another city, i.e., can a Seattle-based company named LA SEO rank in LA locally? It's an interesting question. There's a lot of factors there.
I mean, not unless, so they're not going to rank very well unless they have the local listings. So they're going to have to, you know, hornswoggle a lot of people into thinking that they're in LA. They're going to have to set up a local address, a local phone number. That sounds pretty challenging.
This is an interesting side case for a business like LA Fitness, right? That's the brand name.
Oh, right.
And it's going to be difficult for them to...
Well, I think Google has probably special cased them, like they do with a lot of businesses like that.
You see more special casing in... I'm sure you see more special casing in the local compared to the web.
I think there's both. I mean,
both?
Yeah. I remember meeting a guy whose job, when he worked at Google, his job was specifically writing the crawler or writing some crawl parameters so that they could crawl Amazon more effectively.
Yeah.
I mean, I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, they really special case. You know, Google, we think of Google as being, you know, very egalitarian. I mean, I'm not saying the results aren't relatively egalitarian, but they do a lot of specific work.
When we talk to people in New York Times, it's the same thing. They're crawling their homepage every 3 seconds. Right. They're not doing that at normal websites.
No.
So special casing is certainly happening. Question from Tim Hawkins: why do images show sometimes in the SERP and not in other results in different cities? Excuse me. So why do images show sometimes in the SERP and not in other results in different cities, even when all the places profiles contain images?
You know, honestly, I can't say for certain, and I have not looked into any of the factors that predict why an image would show or not. A couple of things that I would check is the owner verification. I would check whether those images were uploaded by the owner versus user-generated images. And I would also look at whether those images fit some requirements, so sizing, safe for work types of things. Could also just be that Google is manually reviewing a lot of those images, and until they get to manually reviewing some, they're not going to show them in the results.
Okay. And I'm also getting a message from J.V. Stevens, our VP of Marketing, and he's I've put my foot in my mouth here, and he's saying that the Groupon Google deal is not necessarily all the way through. It is just these are the reports that we're seeing.
Because I saw that